What's up, Titans fans, and welcome to another episode of Titans Global Podcast. I am your host, Maximus Titan fan, and with me, well, not with me, as always, is my good buddy Link. My good buddy Link is extremely ill. There's been a sickness going around. I think everybody in Tennessee's pretty much had it. I had it about a week and a half ago, so I completely understand what he's going through, and don't blame him a bit for taking the time off. But if you're just joining us for the first time, man, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If this isn't your first time with us, share it around. We're trying to get to as many people as possible, and we do this 100% for the fans. It's not like we're getting paid or anything. Just love to do it, to be honest. So let's get right in it. Titans versus Jaguars. Man, it's really hard. I don't know. There's only 2 games left in this season. It's really hard to get behind, a Titans team that is only a 3-win team. But we're facing the Jaguars, who are also a 3-win team. So I think it's perfectly viable that we could easily win this game. Don't see any reason why not. So there's that. We're favored for like the second time this season, I think, for an accumulated 4 points total. But we're only favored in this game by 1 point. So I don't know if that's more upsetting to me than, but I don't know. Anyway, normal time, 12-1, depending on where you are in Tennessee. It's on CBS. The over-under is 39.5. And, I don't know if it's because I just want to test this theory of how much I can be right on the over-under, or if it's just I really want it to be. But I'm going with the over this week with these two teams that finished. I think the last game was like 13-3 or something like that. It was terrible. It was only like 16 points scored the entire game. It was awful. Point is, for some stupid reason, I feel like this is going to be a more high-scoring game than we got last week. Don't know why. Our top scorer is going to be out this week. Segue right into the injury report. I apologize. I don't do these shows a lot by myself. So, if you guys could help me out by getting in the comments, dropping a few comments, give me something to kind of, work with here other than just my own idiotic brain. But anyway, injury report. Oh man, Nick Folk. That's the biggest one. I mean, that's the biggest one. It's obvious. Nobody wants Nick Folk to be out of the game. Dylan Radins is out too, and I guess you could argue to say that he is also important. However, I would argue that fact that last week with him out, it allowed Brunskill to move to a more natural right guard position. Corey Levin came into his natural position, which was center, and both of them played better in their natural spots than they did in Brunskill at center. I don't necessarily disagree with it. I just don't agree with it. Just because he's a natural right tackle and he does a really good job or right guard, excuse me, at right guard. He's getting a little older, and I don't know that snapping the ball. And Corey Levin's just better built for it as far as the build goes. He's a bigger, thicker dude. But as far as the rest of the injury report goes, Otis Reese is also out, and Colton Dowell has also been ruled out. Questionable: Tyler Boyd, Amani Hooker, Tony Pollard, Luke Gifford, and Bryce Oliver. A couple of those we'll get to later. But as far as the Jaguars go, Walker Little, Ventrell Miller, and Darnell Savage are all out, and Yasir Abdullah is questionable. Obviously, we're not playing Lawrence on IR. So we get Matt Jones again. Should work in our favor. So I'm not really upset or disappointed about that. Let's see here. We had some interesting line changes. I talked about it just a second ago a little bit. Dylan Radins went out. It allowed Brunskill to move to a more natural right guard position. Corey Levin came in as the center. And then, of course, we were out of right tackles because it's been just basically a rotating door there. So we used John Njoku as our right tackle. Did not finish great at right tackle, I'm not going to lie. But MPF just absolutely... The only sack that was allowed was by MPF. And I mean, some people argue, maybe Mason should have stepped up away from the pressure. But for me, man, you got to lock that dude up or just push him further back. Mason doesn't have like a crazy 7 or 8, 10 step drop like Will Levis does for some reason, but still, just right into it. I mean, literally, he had nowhere to go. But I don't really feel like that was on Mason. I feel like 100% that was on MPF. But, whatever. Anyway, I feel like that's going to give us a leg up, though, in the competition. Last week, we were 11th best pass pro line in the NFL. I mean, if that alone doesn't tell you that we were doing something right, I hate that it took us this long to figure out that Corey Levin is better at center than David Brunskill, and Brunskill is more right guard than he is a center. But hey, we got it figured out, so that's nice. Plus, Latham has stacked 2 good games together, and my man Sco, who I've been touting all year, has had 2 games back to back with an 80 or above PFF score. And I know 80 doesn't sound like eye-popping numbers or anything like that, but an 80 as far as linemen go is great. That is literally how it goes. 60 is average, 70 is good. Or no, I said that wrong. 70 is average, 80 is good. Or no, I did say it right. 60 is average, 70 is good, 80 is great, and anything over 90 is elite. Very few linemen in the NFL get over a 90 score PFF. So yeah, that's fantastic. And then the last game, I think he had an 88 scored by PFF, and that's after 36 snaps with 0 pressures. So Sco's playing on another level. Latham, I think, had an 80 for the last game, and Levin, I believe, also had an 80. I'll fact check that right now, actually, but I'm pretty sure those are the numbers. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm really actually very happy with the line movement, the way that they've done. I don't know why it took us so long to figure that out. Yes, Levin scored an 80.9. Njoku was a 49.1, which is just damn disappointing, but they couldn't leave MPF in there because he is a liability as well. Which leads me to another topic, which is actually a decent segue for once. Duncan is back from IR, and Callahan stated he will play in this game. They did not mention, exactly what position he'll be playing. Yeah, it's going to be right tackle. Because that's been pretty much a rotating door all year. So I expect that to be obviously the position that he plays. So let's go with that. Hey, yo, what's up, Brandon? By the way, winner of the hat that we gave away last week, that did get shipped today. As soon as I get out of here, I will get that tracking number sent over to you, bro, so you can track your package and see when your hat's going to show up, man. Really appreciate you guys. Anybody that was taking place in our 100th episode last week, that is fantastic. Thank you. for being with us. And if you didn't, I'm sorry you missed it, man. I didn't realize the 100th episode really snuck up on me really fast. I've got a lot going on right now. Just a lot going on in my personal life. We'll just say that, yeah. Hey, man, as always, thank you. Thank you. You guys are what we do this for. Actually, I started doing this, if you want to know the truth. I started doing this because my wife was tired of me really talking to her about football, and she wanted me to have an outlet where I could just talk about Titans football as much as I wanted. And then it just kind of grew from there. Then it came actually a thing. People started following me, and I actually started taking it somewhat serious. I say somewhat because I'm still a regular dude. I'm still exactly who you see on this camera. If you're to meet me at a game or something like that, I am absolutely no different on camera than I am off. I'm not putting on some show for people or anything like that. And Link isn't either. He's a genuine dude. We're both just fans that like to talk about Titans football, and we're appreciative that there are other people that like to hear us talk about Titans football. And to be honest, I watch all the Titans podcasts as well. That's it's another reason why I wanted to do this. But man, I have no idea where I was now. Hey man, thank you, thank you. But let's see, Chig Okonkwo. Let's just go from there. Chig Okonkwo has stacked two of the best games of his entire career in the last 2 weeks. 17 targets out of 21, or excuse me, 17 receptions out of 21 targets for 140 yards over the last 2 weeks. 17 targets. That's amazing. And I had a couple people argue with me. Well, that's because Mason, checks down all the time, and we were going against soft defenses. Which I guess, you could say that for both weeks because we were trying to come back from behind. But in the pre-show to the Colt show, I even said that the tight end over the middle was going to be open. That was a weak spot on their defense, and they really took advantage of it. So I don't know. I'm interested to see if Chig can keep that going. Their linebacker core, as I mentioned before, Yasir Abdullah and Ventrell Miller are both. Well, Ventrell Miller's out. Abdullah is questionable. So their linebacker core is not great. Neither is ours though. But we'll get into that later. But I'm really happy with Chig. Although I have to throw an asterisk in there because this is the third year now in a row that Chig Okonkwo has shown up in November, December time and started putting up amazing stats. Now, obviously, these stats are much better than the stats he had the previous 2 years, but still, the fact that he's basically a ghost the first part of the season is a problem. Not saying he shouldn't have been targeted. I'm just saying it's something that I've noticed is a trend over the last few years. Can he keep that pace up? I'm interested to find out. Again, linebacker core kind of injured, so interesting. Spears, another guy who has just performed amazingly over the last 2 weeks. 23 touches to the ball, 158 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Man, I love Tajay Spears. I really do. In the open field, I think he is probably one of the hardest people to tackle in the NFL. And if he gets proper blocking, he is great. Can he add more? He has been amazing in the passing game. But the question really for Tajay is, can he keep that up in the running game? And if we get good blocking, I say yes. Because like I said, in the open field, the dude's hard to tackle. However, he's not one of those guys that you can hit in the backfield like Derrick Henry or even Tony Pollard's proven this season that he can be that guy. But he's not one of those guys you can hit in the backfield and he's still going to gain yards. He might do that occasionally, but that's not something he's doing on a consistent basis. So, although I do, if you're a fantasy player and you're looking for a good pickup this week, I feel like Tajay Spears is a great running back / wide receiver, pickup this week. I feel like if you can get him on waiver wires, that is going to be very valuable. Um, simply for the fact that Tony Pollard looks like he's injured, and he's been on the injury report, I think, for 3 or 4 games in a row. And all 4 games, except for last week, he's played a lot of the snaps and looked just like old school Tony Pollard. So it's not really that alarming to you, but everything that I'm hearing coming out of the Titans media is that Tony Pollard might actually be either extremely limited or just not playing this game at all. I think he's going to be a game time decision of whether he's playing or not. And even if he does play, I feel like he is going to be limited on his snaps. So Tajay Spears, expect to get a heavy dose of the rushing and passing snaps for Tajay Spears. So I feel like that is a really good fantasy pickup if you guys are, in need of a wide receiver or flex running back, tight end, however you're doing your leagues. And again, sorry, without should I pick up Levis this week? I love you, Michael. I'll be honest with you, bro. When you first started coming around, I thought you were like a troll, but now I just realized that you have a great sense of humor, and me and you probably would get along great as far as our sense of humor goes. Because your sarcasm is on another level, bro. No, I would honestly, I don't know that I would play Mason Rudolph. I don't know that he's a bad flex, but unless you're just really desperate, I wouldn't play Mason Rudolph. I don't know that I would play any of the wide receivers in this game either. I feel like Calvin Ridley is really trying to prove something with this season, so I feel like he is going to be playing hard. And the youngsters, Bryce Oliver's questionable in the game, but I feel like he'll probably play. NWI, Tyler Boyd. I don't know that they're really youngsters, but anyway, those guys are not going to be. Tyler Boyd, I don't know, man. He seems to be on and off. I don't know. Anyway, Matt Jones. Second time we've seen him this season. First game, he didn't have really good stats against us, although he did still was on the winning team. We'll say that. He was on the winning team. He went 23 of 31 for 220 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So, I mean, not really great numbers. Just not bad. Hey, all right, man. This goes also to show you how much I have been paying attention to fantasy football this year. My fantasy teams, both of them, because I've been so extremely busy with my personal life, and not that this takes up so much of my time that I don't like it, but it does. It is time consuming. Honestly, I missed both my fantasy drafts, and I have been terrible in fantasy football this year. It's the first year in, God, probably since I've been playing fantasy football, at least in the last 10 years, that I have not made it into the playoffs in either one of my fantasy leagues. I play 2 fantasy leagues pretty regularly every season, and I have 1 keeper league. Usually I just pick a league and go for it. Yeah, definitely. Oh, that sucks to have him on the bench and he popped 16 points. But anyway, I hate to do this at a horrible time, but stick around with us for a little bit longer. About a 40-second ad from our sponsors, but we got to keep them happy. Red Zone Builders. What's up, Titans fans? Maximus Titan fan here. Are you in need of professional excavation services? Look no further. Red Zone Builders has the expertise, experience, and equipment to handle all or any excavation project, big or small. Whether you need land clearing, site preparation, trenching, foundation excavation, or any other excavation services, they have you covered. Their team of skilled professionals will work diligently to ensure your project is completed safely, efficiently, and to your satisfaction. Trust the experts at Red Zone Builders to get the job done right. Yeah, man, what he said. Uh, hey, look, man, if you guys are still watching this, I appreciate it, first of all. Second of all, now you understand why Link is so valuable to me. It is extremely hard to do these shows alone, and you eat up your content twice as fast when you're alone because you don't have somebody else to bounce your ideas off of or talk about. But linebackers for the Titans, it's a mess. We are down to the nitty gritty. Basically, we've got Cedric Gray and Williams, James Williams, who's definitely going to be in the game. Luke Gifford looks to be good for this game, and he looks to be the play caller, which is an interesting call. I thought Cedric Gray would have got that, but I understand he's just got back to the team a couple weeks ago, might not understand the off or defense as well as Luke Gifford does, but that'll be an interesting thing to watch. I think will be to see what the playing time is between these three linebackers. It'll tell you as far as what the coaches think they are, as far as their progression goes. Luke Gifford's obviously going to play 100% of the snaps, and I think that Cedric Gray's probably going to start the majority of the snaps and start the game opposite of Luke Gifford. But Williams is going to get snaps. I feel like Williams is more reliable in the coverage snaps. Cedric Gray is more reliable in the run snaps. We'll see how that doles out. I'm interested to see what the stats look like after that. It's one of those things that I guess if you're a deep football fan, I say all the time that there are plenty of reasons to keep watching these games, even though they are completely out of hand. And we have a horrible team this year, or not a horrible team. We have a horrible record this year. But the reason to keep watching is just like this right here. We have a young, all three, well, excuse me, two of the three are rookies. So we're going to get to see what they can do. And I feel like Cedric Gray's better at run, even though I've only seen him for 2 games. I feel like he's better at run than Williams is. And I feel like Williams better at pass. So I'm interested to see if that's still the case or if Cedric Gray was just trying to get his feet wet. He was the tackle leader last week. So obviously I feel like he's got the vision and, he can see the gaps and stuff like that, fill the gaps. But, interested to see if his pass defense gets any better this week. Also, talking about pass defense, Amani Hooker. I'm really concerned if Amani Hooker can't play. If he can't, then that means that Mike Brown and Daryl Worley. Jesus, I always have a hard time saying his name. I don't know why, but Daryl Worley and Mike Brown are the only 2 safeties left on the roster. Obviously, if Amani Hooker can't go, then we will bring up versus Owens from the practice squad, whoever that is. I'll be honest with you, that's how deep we are at safety right now, which is about as shallow as the kiddie pool. So I really hope Amani Hooker can play, but if he can't, hey, man, I understand. You're getting up, not super aged, but you are an aged veteran. There's really no reason to force an injury or anything like that. So, but still would like to see him out there because my God, I don't want to see what Gervais and just Owens, whatever his name is, Mr. Owens. We'll call him Mr. Owens from the practice squad. I don't want to see what Mr. Owens from the practice squad has to offer the Tennessee Titans. I'd rather see Amani Hooker limp around the field. And I guess the last big aspect of this game to talk about is what we didn't get the last time we saw the Jaguars. was Mason Rudolph. Yeah, Matt Jones, I talk about this a lot when I'm referring to that game because it really annoyed me that we lost that game. But Matt Jones was just efficient enough to keep the Jaguars in that game and allow them to win. So all I'm really asking Mason Rudolph to do after his 3-interception outing, although I feel like 2 of those really don't count because one of them was a tipped ball and one of them was in complete garbage time. And he telegraphed his throw like horribly. But I mean, come on, what are you doing with less than 15 seconds on the clock? But can he be efficient enough to win this game? Can he? And do we? And my final point, I guess, I hate to say that almost 30 minutes in, but my final point: if the Titans win this game, and this is my most important point of the entire show, if the Titans win this game, which I feel like we will because it's just the way that fate works. But if the Titans win this game, we hurt our draft status in the fact that, we're now a 4-win team instead of a 3-win team. And the Jaguars would obviously fall behind us if they were to win. But if we do, that means we hurt our draft status. Plus, our only bragging rights for doing so is that we beat the Jags, which is, let's face it, folks, one of the teams vying for the worst team in the NFL, which we're also vying for that. So, but my point is that really a team worth beating? I was happy when we beat the Texans because, they're obviously winning the AFC South division. They're the best team in our division, and we beat them. Might beat them twice. I hope so. My God, I'll be at that game. By the way, at the last game of the season, the Texans game, I'll be there, and I would absolutely love it if we swept the Texans this year. Although I don't think that's going to happen. I feel like they're going to be extremely motivated in that second game against us. But that is for next Friday. My point is if we win this game, we're going to hurt our draft status and still not have any good feeling about it at all. Maybe we get some good play, but what is that? Good play against the worst team in the NFL or one of the worst teams in the NFL? Is that really a bragging right? Is that something to be happy about? And again, no NFL team wants to tank. No NFL team even tries to tank. That's a joke. It's an absolute joke. So you're trying to win this game. Man, I don't know. It's just rough. This is rough. This is rough. Man, I wish Link was here. I love you, bro. If you're watching this, man, just watch me crash and burn. But my point is that I just if we were going to win a game, I would rather us lose this game and win next week. Because I'm going to watch the game and I love it when we win because I get super hyped and stupid and we'll have swept the Texans, who is the best team in this division. However, if we win this week and then lose next week, it's just more probable, way higher probability of that happening. We're still drafting 5, 6, and what do we have to show for it? 4-win season. Definitely questioning the quarterback position, but questioning even the head coach position. Not that there are legitimate questions, though, and there are a couple names that popped in my brain if they came up. I might actually, if I was the owner of the Titans, I might actually consider looking at them. But other than those 1 or 2 names like Ben Johnson, I wouldn't, and most people tell me he wants to inherit a good team. So, I mean, that in itself tells me that he's afraid of failure, and anybody who's afraid of failure will never find success, especially in a high competitive world like professional sports. So there we have it. That, I guess, is my we'll call it bold prediction, is that the Titans will win this game and hurt their draft status and not have anything to show for it other than, hey, we beat the Jags. So, anybody going to the game, get ready. It could be a fun one for the Titans, at least. If you're at the game, it's the only people that'll really be cheering, if I'm being honest. And not that I'm cheering against my team, because I never will, but this is going to hurt one way or the other. I mean, if we lose to the Jags again, oh my God, we got swept by the Jags. That's almost worse than winning and hurting our draft status. But I don't know. Man. I mean, like, literally, if you ask me which one I would take of those two choices, neither. Is there an option C? None of the above? I don't know. Anyway, if you have stuck around for this mess of a show, I really appreciate it. And it's been a quick one. Again, not a whole lot to bounce around or talk to somebody else, but when you're doing your show by yourself, it is quick and it is easy to get through the content quick. So if this is your first time watching us and you enjoyed the show, hop on over to YouTube and hit that little subscribe button, hit the bell so you don't miss any of our other content, and you'll get to see link as well, adds to the show. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Another week. We'll see you Monday with the results of this show. And hopefully I won't be alone. But if I am, we'll keep weathering the storm. Until then, tighten up. Peace out.